Since 1958, kids all over the world have been entertained by the work of two men who made animated cartoons their business. Known as Hanna Barbera, they were bigger than Disney. William Hanna and Joseph Barbera had a friendship and a business relationship that lasted for 60 years. And they created a stable of animated cartoon characters known the world over and are still loved today. Bill Hanna was born July 14, 1910, in Melrose, New Mexico. His father was a construction supervisor for the railroads and also for the water and sewer systems throughout the West. This caused the family to move constantly and made Bill a lover of the great outdoors. The family settled in Watts, California in 1919. Bill joined the Boy Scouts and excelled in everything. He went to Compton High School and took up playing saxophone in a dance band for 4 years. His passion for music stayed with him, and he helped write the theme songs for some of his later cartoon shows, including The Flintstones. After high school, he went to Compton City College, where he studied journalism and structural engineering. Dropping out of college, he helped to build and work at the Pantages Theater, but had to be let go because of the Great Depression. He then got a job at the Pacific Art and Title Company, producing title cards for motion pictures, and while there, he developed his artistic talents. By 1930, he was working at the Harman Ising Animation Studios at Warner Brothers. When Harman and Ising left Warner's to go to MGM in 1933, Bill went with them. Bill directed his first cartoon for Harman Ising in 1934 called To Spring.
Jeepers creepers jumping G, time for spring, time for spring.
The next year, MGM stopped working with Harman and Ising and started making their own cartoons in-house. From 1938 to 1939, Bill Hanna was senior director of MGM's The Captain and the Kids series, based on the comic strip. The series didn't do well, and Bill was demoted to the story department. As fate would have it, his desk was opposite that of another writer who'd come over from Terrytoons. His name was Joe Barbera. Joseph Barbera was born on March 24, 1911, in the Little Italy section of Manhattan. When he was 5 years old, he was already showing artistic talent. After high school, he thought seriously about art as a career. He got interested in animation after seeing Disney's The Skeleton Dance. He also submitted single-panel cartoons to magazines like Redbook and the Saturday Evening Post. After taking art classes at the Art Students League of New York and at the Pratt Institute, he was soon hired to work in the ink and paint department at Fleischer Studios. While there, Joe heard there was an opening in the story department at the MGM Animation Studios. He decided he had nothing to lose, and so he applied for the job, and got it. Packed up all his belongings and moved to California. His desk, amazingly, sat opposite that of another fledgling writer named Bill Hanna. They liked each other immediately, and they worked very well together. Their first cartoon, carrying the Hanna-Barbera moniker, was Puss Gets the Boot. It was about a slick little mouse and a not-so-bright cat. You might have heard of them. Neither character was named as of yet, but they'd soon become known to the world as Tom and Jerry. Not only was the film well received, but was nominated and won the Oscar for Best Animated Short. Their producer, Fred Quimby, was happy for the win, but didn't want to do a cat and mouse series. Bill and Joe fought hard for the creations, convincing Fred to give them a chance. It was a huge win for Bill and Joe, as Tom and Jerry went on to win 6 more Oscars in their 20-year run. Fast forward to 1957, when MGM closed its animation department, and Bill and Joe then formed Hanna-Barbera Productions, looking into the field of television. They started looking for a studio that would produce their new cartoons, and found that Columbia Studios was interested. Their cartoons would be shown through their television division, Screen Gems. They soon pitched their first TV series idea, Rough and Ready.
Get set, get ready. Here comes Rough and Ready.
Rough and Ready was an immediate hit, and Columbia wanted more ASAP. Needing artistic help, they called on Ed Benedict, who was an animator and designer that had worked for Tex Avery's unit at MGM. Benedict went on to design 99% of the Hanna Barbera stable of characters that are still used today. He retired in 1968, occasionally doing freelance work, until his death in 2006. The next show they produced was The Huckleberry Hound Show.
Biggest show in town is Huckleberry Hound for all you guys and gals.
The cartoon featured Huck, Yogi Bear, and the mice Pixie and Dixie with Mr. Jinx the cat.
Dixie, Dixie, diddly-dum, sometimes enjoy a spat. Dixie, Dixie, diddly-dum, with Mr. Jinx the cat.
They soon had another smash hit on their hands. In fact, Yogi Bear was so popular, he got his own spin-off program, The Yogi Bear Show, another huge hit. Bill and Joe started thinking of going where no animated show had ever gone before, primetime television. One evening in September of 1960, the world met the Flintstones.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. They're the modern Stone Age family.
The show was originally intended for adults and was sponsored by Winston Cigarettes.
I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break. That's it.
But when word got out that kids were loving it more than parents, Winston was dropped in favor of Kenner Toys and Welch's grape juice. Critics were calling the show The Honeymooners with Dinosaurs. One person who noticed was Honeymooners creator and star Jackie Gleason, Ralph Cramden himself. He threatened to sue Hanna Barbera, but Jackie's friends talked him out of it, and Gleason dropped the charges. With the success of the Flintstones, Bill and Joe started planning another primetime cartoon. If people loved the past, how about a show about the future? Well, meet the Jetsons, a futuristic family with its own set of problems. Who doesn't remember that catchy theme song?
Meet George Jetson. His boy Elroy.
Again, kids loved it, but parents didn't watch, and the show only lasted one season and 24 great episodes. So now they wanted to do a primetime show specifically for kids. That show was Top Cat.
Top Cat, the most effectual Top Cat, whose intellectual close friends get to call him TC.
Which is basically an animated version of the popular Sergeant Bilko show, which starred Phil Silvers. They even got Maurice Gosfield, who played Private Doberman in Bilko, to voice Benny the Ball, one of TC's gang members.
Hiya, Top Cat.
Benny, what day is it?
Tuesday.
I don't remember leaving a call for Tuesday.
I wanted to ask you a question.
As cute and as funny as it was, it also didn't last more than one season. It was time for another big move for Hanna Barbera, and not just on television. 1964 was a big year for Bill and Joe. The movie Hey There, It's Yogi Bear was released in April as their first full-length, all-new motion picture.
Let's do what lovers do, pursue what they pursue. If they can love, so can we.
It was a story about Yogi's girlfriend Cindy being kidnapped for the St. Louis Zoo. Yogi, Boo Boo, and Ranger Smith come to her aid in a musical cartoon that kids ate up with a spoon. Many parents still didn't have color TV sets, and to see this in color and on the big screen, wow. The movie went over so well that they started making plans for a second feature film. In the meantime, they were working on a new type of animated show for TV, which they called Johnny Quest. The show debuted in September 1964 and followed the adventures of 11-year-old Johnny, his Indian friend Haji, and his dog Bandit. They traveled with Johnny's dad, Dr. Benton Quest, and their bodyguard, Ray Spannon. No one had ever seen a cartoon like this before. Dark, scary, mysterious, and another hit with the kids. Brainchild of comic book artist Doug Wildey, it was a highly entertaining adventure series. Doug, who came up with the stories and also designed the characters, was heavily invested in the show, but due to the high cost of production, it ended after only one season. Bill and Joe liked the idea of an adventure cartoon series and began looking for someone to do it cheaper. They found comic book artist and legend Alex Toth. Alex was a wizard with a pencil and possessed a brilliant mind for composition. Under his watch, Alex created Space Ghost, the Herculoids, Birdman and the Galaxy Trio, and many more. Things were going great for Hanna Barbera as they produced one hit cartoon series after another. Besides Huckleberry Hound and Yogi Bear, they had the McGilla Gorilla Show.
We've got a gorilla for sale, McGilla Gorilla for sale.
The Peter Potamus Show.
He's been everywhere, flying through the air. He is everyone's friend.
Adamant.
Up and Adam, it's Adamant. His strength, his might.
Secret Squirrel.
What an agent, what a squirrel. He's got the country in a whirl. What's his name? Shh, secret squirrel.
Wally Gator.
Wally Gator is the swinging navigator in the swamp.
Touche Turtle.
Touche away!
And of course, Quick Draw McGraw.
Yippee-yi-yo, coyote galloping all the way. Great big star on his chest. Outdraws all the rest.
But their partnership with Screen Gems came to an end in 1965, and Hanna Barbera announced the sale of their studio to Taft Broadcasting for $12 million. Bill and Joe kept their positions and hit shows were still being created, but the adventure line was getting thin. In 1969, the writing team of Ruby Spears came up with an idea about a traveling band of teens who get caught up in small-town mysteries, which they somehow solve. The concept became Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And can you say the biggest hit ever?
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now.
From 1969 to the present day, Scooby-Doo is in some way or another constantly on the air. In 1976, Joe Barbera was the executive producer of a movie called Mother Jugs and Speed, which was a dark comedy about 3 ambulance drivers and their days and nights on the job. Many parents saw Joe's name on it and thought it would be fun family fare. It wasn't. Angry letters and phone calls poured into the Hanna-Barbera offices. Joe apologized up and down, saying that the film had an R rating, but the damage was already done. Joe kept a low profile for a while, burying himself in his work. In 1997, Taft Broadcasting sold Hanna-Barbera to Turner Broadcasting for an undisclosed sum. Bill and Joe were kept on as consultants only, but kept their salaries. Bill Hanna died of cancer on March 22, 2001. He was 90 years old. In 2002, Warner Brothers Animation bought Hanna-Barbera from Turner Broadcasting, and Joe Barbera finally retired. Joe died on December 18, 2006. He was 95 years old. Although Bill and Joe are no longer with us, they live on in our lives with names like Huck, Yogi, Fred, Barney, Shaggy, and Scooby-Doo. Thanks for the memories, Bill and Joe. You will never be forgotten. As always, this is Rich from Rerun Zone, signing off.